I don't know why and I don't know how, Dylan, that this is the first deck tech we've done together. We've done videos together, but I'm genuinely shocked this is the first deck tech we've done together. But we're here, and I'm so happy that we are. And you have picked Arachne, the Web of Deceit. Otherwise, I don't know, Baby Mario, as some would say.
Baby Mario.
Yeah, we're here. Now, what is it that this hero is doing in Sage that is piqued your interest to talk about the deck?
Yeah, so when I first started working on kind of Sage decks for London, kind of the first place to start is what decks did I play before in CC, or what decks was I currently playing in CC, and I had just won an RTN on Arachne Marionette, and obviously I'd followed like Kashi and Clemence's guide.
Mm-hmm.
And kind of what I noticed was deconstructing the deck down. Obviously, Assassin uses a lot of powerful Majestics, but for this kind of dagger plan in Mario, you do a lot of damage in a very low health format with the Graphene Chelicera.
Mm-hmm.
And recently the Orb Weaver Spinnerets had been banned, but in Sage all 3 colors are legal.
Yeah.
So, and as well, kind of, I decided to break the deck down and see how the equipment, which is the important part of the deck, kind of lines up in Sage. And I found out that like Danger Digits works as the Flick Knives, Blossom Spring works as the Tunic, and then obviously the Slippy deck had just come out, which gave us Prey Spotters and Stalker's Steps. So I thought, well, if it's broken in CC, it must be broken in this new format if it can stay at the same strength level.
Yeah, absolutely. That's awesome. I mean, I was about to just go head in and jump straight into the equipment, but naturally, as you've absolutely nailed them in one fell sentence. Now, I will go and say the Mark of the Huntsman. I know that your choice of daggers are somewhat there.
Limited.
They are limited.
Yeah.
So why did you pick the Mark of the Huntsman over pretty much all the other ones?
So the main thing with Arachne, if you've played it in Classic Constructed, is on your first turn you really want to flick your Clave, which will mark them and get rid of them anyway. So your first kind of Mark of the Huntsman is just a mark enabler, and then you want to kind of build around this Graphene Chelicera gameplay, because if you flip into 3, for example, you get that free swing. In CC, you have the Mask of Deceit that lets you manually change into 3, and the whole idea is by going first, your Tunic will be on 1, then you block with the Mask, go into Orb Weaver, your Tunic will be on 2, but your Chelicera will cost 0, and then on turn 3, you can activate your Tunic. But by using Blossom of Spring, you kind of always have that Tunic resource up, so just by forcing the Orb Weaver Spinneret, because you have 6 copies and it's a 40 card deck, you're very likely to draw it in the first 2 turns if you're going through 8 cards. And you also have the opportunity to flip into Orb Weaver, that you're able to do these kind of, I've even shown you the screenshots, like 19 damage dagger turns on your first real turn, because you're playing all these +4 pumps, your +3s. Your hero ability is actually very strong, because we run very little blues, but we're able to convert our blues into 3-4 points of damage by just using the agent effects.
Yeah.
Honestly, the worst agent you can get in this format is probably Trapdoor, but even then, you're still getting additional 3 to 4 points of value. And as we go into the deck tech, we'll see that there's like cards like Inertia Trap are very strong against popular decks in the format, like Briar, who want to keep these 5-card hands, and that's how you make that extra bit of tempo. But the main goal of the deck is to get rid of a Mark of a Huntsman and get Graphene online, so you can go Dagger for 1, which ends up being Dagger for 18, or a really stupid number.
Yeah.
The deck's very similar to Azalea, but Azalea has a few issues with the new Dominate boots, the unflinching foothold that were printed in pen, whereas this deck is a lot more tricky, and you can kind of punish people for overblocking these decks that run a lot of 4 blocks or reacts like Oldhim or Dorinthia. You can get full value out of cards like Red Shred, or you can kind of, you go Dagger for 1, and then they block 8 because there's very few reactions in the format, and if you go over, you're going to leak damage against these types of decks. But they might block 8 on the first dagger, and then you go, okay, Dagger for 1 with your next dagger, and you can choose where to put your pumps, and you have a lot of tricks. I think this deck is very similar damage-wise to a Briar or an Azalea, but you get to kind of
choose when. Like you
choose
yeah, because if it's everything about what Brian and everyone else is doing, like it's all doing the same sort of thing. Briar's is a bit more face up and a bit hard to block. Azalea is just overwhelming you with a high attack, and this one is it's only 1, bro. All right, yeah, whatever, bro. Like it's all about you're messing the opponent up basically. There's no good decision.
Like from playing at the world premiere, kind of the consensus of the format that I was hearing from established players is, unlike Blitz, this format isn't very high rolly in that you care about the cards you draw. It's about being consistent. So decks like Briar, Oldhim, Desi Warrior are very consistent, but what people do realize about the format is that if you make one kind of minor mistake, you can be put very behind. And this deck kind of maximizes that on, I'm going to present questions that make it very easy for you to make a mistake, and this is a format where that can put you far behind.
Beautiful. One elegant and amazing way to explain how this works. Honestly, that's so good. So I imagine with the cores side of this deck, it's very almost straightforward. We're pumping and buffing daggers, and a couple of stealth attacks have probably the good stealth attacks. Is that a fair, safe way to explain it?
Yeah, so you have your kind of numbers package with the daggers, and then you have your kind of, I think there's 4 when we get to the sideboard, separate stealth attacks that all have their own kind of either anti-fatigue properties or disruptive properties, or enabling kind of the mark plan. Because by keeping your opponent marked, you're going to get that extra value. Like the Mark of the Huntsman gets +1 while attacking a marked hero, your hero ability when you're not flipped, or just sending something like Mark the Prey to keep that mark up, because since we don't have Hunter's Clave like in CC, we do have to destroy our Mark of the Huntsman to mark them efficiently. So using cards like, you'll see that we increase cards like Mark the Prey. We're running Yellow Cut from the Same Cloth, which works as a 0 for 3, but against like Desi Dory will keep them marked. And then we have high priority on like ending the chain with Scar Tissue, or using our mark traps to kind of keep that mark tempo.
Yeah, no, awesome. That's really, really cool. And then you got Cut from the Same Cloth, which is pumping, Incision, target dagger gets +3, Scar Tissue, like you said, Stain to the red back, being again a pump, all that.
So yeah, if you've played Mario and CC, you know the idea of once you get the graphene up, you can basically pop your Blossom of Spring, or if you're Orb Weaver, you can send that for free, or if you draw 2 blues, you can pitch the first blue to do the dagger for 1, ask the question, and if they answer it wrong, you go dagger for 1 again, and then ask the same question, and kind of just make things awkward for them. But then you can convert any extra blues or cards that you might not be able to play, like let's say you draw 2 stealth cards, you can convert those into 3, 4, however damage. Like if you flip into Tarantula, that's very strong. And another thing is, if you just hit with a Mark of the Huntsman and you don't have to use your danger digits, the flick effect can be very useful in a lot of situations. Like, because the biggest kind of issue for CC Mario with flick knives is that Shelter the Storm is present. but there's not actually a lot of prevent effects in Sage. I'd say Oldham Earth React is the most common one.
Yeah.
But even against these defensive decks like Desidori, you can reliably just use your danger digits on turn 1 to get damage, and then kind of, get your game plan is very consistent with this deck. And as well, you have Prey Spotters if you get really desperate for marking because they can't interact with it at all. But as well, when you're in your base form, Prey Spotters also kind of, it's an onboard +1 react that they always have to respect, especially when you throw like Infect, Mark the Black Widow, Mark the Prey, or Double Trouble.
Yes. Yeah. Oh. This seems awful to play against.
Yeah, it's an annoying deck. That's how.
That's Assassin. It's like a wasp in the car. It is stressful. And right, yeah. Let's go in. So that's your main deck, makes a total amount of sense. Again, everyone, just like with the other ones, check it out, play around, see what works for you. But I want to hear your takes on the sideboard. You've got quite a healthy amount of sideboard cards. We'll start with the equipment. Yeah. The Unflinching Foothold, beautiful card, because I imagine that when someone does this big old dominate turn, you go, no, you're not having that.
Yeah, so Unflinching is for Azalea, or I'm kind of on and off it for Flattering Showman. Sometimes the go again from Stalker Steps is very strong, and that matchup can go a bit to fatigue, but I actually think this deck can deal with fatigue very well, again, with converting your kind of lesser power cards into reaction-based damage, which is very hard for them to deal with. But the extra armor, the stopping Dominate, it just makes the Azalea matchup so... It just gives you a free turn to say no to what Azalea is trying to do. And that's something a lot of decks can't do against you, because decks like Azalea and Briar aren't running defense reactions, or some decks don't have the capability to. And also, a very strong defense reaction in this format is Lalo, which you can't play if you're marked, and this whole deck's thing is marking, so
yeah,
it can be very annoying.
Yeah, I asked that question about Lalo. They explained the value. I was like, until this guy shows up. Yeah. Topsy Turvy.
Yeah, so this is an arcane piece that is very interesting. I've messed around with it a bit, and against decks like Kano, if you don't have the cards to pay for AB, because this deck actually has a very good Kano matchup in that the way you attack Kano is all their cards block 3 or don't block at all, and they don't work in reactions. And you can turn a dagger for 1 into a dagger for 19, and that's not under exaggeration. If you draw to the point, up sticks and run, you have an Arachne React, you're popping Blossom of Spring, like that's only 3 cards and you're already up to like 13. If you draw well, you can get a dagger up to 19, 20 by just it's just dagger for 1.
Yeah.
Make the right decision. And sometimes they'll overblock, and then the dagger has go again because they're marked, and then you can throw like...
This is... And then imagine the Topsy-Turvy is your Arcane Barrier, and if they ever get an opt moment when they go, I want to opt, you go, I'm going to completely...
Yeah, like if they can't pay for the... If you can't pay for Arcane Barrier 2 anyway, because you have Arcane Barrier in your shoes as well, then you can just use Topsy-Turvy to be annoying. As well, it also has use against Azalea, where if they want to dominate an arrow, it forces them into blind flipping, which... It's a really funny card, and there's a few other cards from Pen I want to mess with, but this is the first one that's really made the cut, and that it's a fun card, but also has utility. Like against Kano, I prefer to just see it as Arcane Barrier, like a Northern Hood, that sometimes has this additional text. But against Azalea, it could just be really funny.
Yeah. Your whole turn was set up for this. Wow. Right. let's go through your sideboard. You start from Arcane Polarity. Like,
it's a wizard.
I suppose what you've done, which a lot of people have done before this, they make 40 card decks and they make swaps, but you kindly gave us a 32 card deck because you think just like me, my friend, where these will never come out. These are what I want to put in. So Arcane Polarity, Arcane, yeah?
Yeah, so mostly wizard. Like against Briar, I feel you have the same numbers that you just kind of race, and most of your cards convert for 3 or 4 anyway. Where Briar doesn't have the consistent arcane to get 4 value out of this, so this is mostly for Icelander, Kano, those decks.
Yeah. Den of the Spider?
Yeah, so with the 32 card main board, we then get into the which traps am I taking in every matchup, because you will be flipping into Trapdoor now and again. So we have one of Den of the Spider and one of Lair, which are, if you're against Go Again decks, you take Lair. If you're against Go Tall decks or buff decks, you run Den, just to keep that kind of marking. So if you're against a Briar, you can actually run both, but I think Inertia Trap is better there. But if you're against a deck where Frailty or Inertia Trap isn't that beneficial, these are your marking cards. And then moving on to Frailty and Inertia Trap, Frailty Trap is for decks with Go Again that rely on weapons or playing cards from Arsenal. It's just a minor kind of -1. I think this is kind of the worst trap in the deck, but it has its instances where it's good.
Yeah.
But Inertia Trap is broken. I'll just say this. If Guardian takes Titan's Fist instead of Miller's, it's active on the hammer every turn. And no Arsenal, no defense reaction. Briar's whole thing is buffing, and Briars want to set up 5-card hands for these burn-up shocks, or Briars can't always effectively convert their whole hand because they need to set up an embodiment of lightning. So using this Inertia Trap can get you 7 points of value by flipping into Trapdoor, because you get the 3 block and then you're getting a 0 for 4 off them.
Yeah.
It's good into Azalea. It's good into even the Desi Warrior decks if they play the buff. Attack reactions or the Falling Swing, the +1.
Yeah.
This card's awesome.
It does a lot. And then you've got Double Trouble.
Yeah, Double Trouble is a kind of sideboardable stealth card. So citing it in is kind of, we don't have a lot of reactions that go with it until we sideboard in things like this Red Shred, which is also in the sideboard. But there's kind of 2 arguments for this card. The first one is you have the onboard reacts to turn it on, like your Prey Spotters and your Stalker Steps. And it's just to get a stealth attack that will be very above rate. It's kind of like a 0 for 6, in that when you mark them, your base ability will give it +1, and it itself will give it +2. The mill effect isn't why we're running it, it's just so that we can get a very high attack. We can use our aged abilities on it, except Tarantula, and it's just kind of to get a higher ceiling against these fatigue decks, or in decks where we really have to race, like Kano, or if you don't want to run traps, you can put it in. But it's in for most matchups. It's just kind of, it also asks that question, if you send this Double Trouble against an Oldham, and they're like, okay, well, you can buff this up to, with Stains of the Redback, you can probably buff this up to 8, so they might throw 2 4s in front of it, or, a 4, and then you use kind of basic reactions. You can actually fatigue Oldhams if you hit both of these, and then just kind of go off the, send your dagger and then turn a blue into a +3, that you can create so much deck damage that they end up actually running out of cards. That's a very specific situation.
Yeah.
But it's just to push extra damage and as an anti-fatigue plan.
Yeah.
Which I'll move on to the kind of other anti-fatigue stuff, which is the pick up the point, the hurl, and the shred. So hurl is interesting because, like I said at the start, we run 6 Orb Weaver Spinneret.
Yeah.
Which the big thing in CC when we had 9 Orb Weavers was they were basically all worth an extra point of damage because you could flick the graphene you made.
Got ya.
And then you would just play another Orb Weaver, and you would get you'd get your Graphene back, and then flick it later. Hurl has kind of the same idea in that there's not a lot of prevention in the format, and also even with Oldham's Earth React, they can't do that in the block phase with Hurl because it's an on-play effect. So it's just extra ways to push damage by creating these Graphenes, and it lets you pitch if you're going for a long game. And then we have Pick Up the Point, which is doing kind of a similar thing in that you're buying back the Mark of the Huntsman, which will let you mark more, and then you can flick it with Hurl. We're also running Blue Bite, which is just kind of a finisher that you can pitch, and then, it's more damage that you can kind of pull out at those endgame scenarios against fatigue-based decks. And also, they're just head jabs, so they usually eat a card, and you're getting that 0 for 3 value. And sometimes you'll draw hands that don't convert very well, like you might draw a dagger buff, a stealth card, and you just need to kind of, against these slower decks, you can't really afford to slow down, and these head jabs really help, and they have anti-fatigue properties. But they also work with Red Shred, which works on all assassin cards, including the daggers. The reason Red Shred is in is because of Guardian running these 0 for 4 blocks, so they're on 15, 18 of them.
Yeah.
So the issue with Red Shred in Classic Constructed is the yellow and the blue are better because they're modular and that you can pitch them, and usually people are only blocking 3 in those formats anyway, unless it's in reactions. But because there's so many upfront 4 blocks in this format, even against like Desidori, where they're running these like Steelblade shunts, which is annoying because you're dagger focused and you're gonna take the ping. But these will always get full value against those defensive decks, and that on our math, like I was saying, like if you play like Cut from the Same Cloth, Up Sticks and Run, you use your ability from your hero, you pop Spring, you're sending a dagger for 1, but you will then convert your hand in a different axis that your opponent is able to deal with for about 20 damage. And like I have one-shot people with this deck, which is really funny because they're playing these defensive heroes. But this deck is really fun.
Yeah, I can tell. I can tell you're very. I can tell you really this deck is.
I love this deck a lot.
Yeah, absolutely. Now, because it's nice and short and sweet, I'm going to have to leave it there. But Dylan, honestly, thank you so much. If you guys want to actually hit up Dylan as well, he's going to have his Twitter link below. And I'm sure if there's any more specific things that you want to get, you can hit him up on there, leave a comment on here, and then we'll go from there. But honestly, Dylan, thank you so much for showing off Baby Mario for me.
Mini Mario, yeah.
Mini Mario. This looks incredibly scary. Right. Cheers, everyone.
Bye, guys.
Here, everybody. I'm here with my boy Pablo. It's good to have you back. Thank you so much. And you have brought with us Briar. Now, I heard this hero is kind of mid.
Well, as always, it is my pleasure to be here with you, Hamish. And yeah, I have chosen a slight underdog of this metagame. A hero that has yet to be explored. I believe almost no one has registered Briar for this London calling.
Other than that, this hero's completely insane, which is of no surprise. So if you've this isn't going to be a deep dive into everything. This is going to be a bit of a quick show, as you probably gathered. So let's get stuck into it. So you've with the weapon of choice, you picked Starfall. Now you are Runeblade. You have a lot of choices around your weapons. None of them are bad. You've got some good ones, but why did you pick Starfall?
It's mostly to help us not get dead hands, right? We might argue that on perfect hands, Ripping Blade might be slightly better, right? Mm-hmm. You could get 1 extra point of value, and you could also get the additional effect, which might be relevant into some decks running Arcane Polarity. But when you start playing with this deck, you do realize that in some very, very quick matchups, you actually need to threaten the most powerful card of the deck, Burn Up Shock, which honestly consistently feels majestic or more power level, right? It feels amazing in this format. So it is really a non-interactable card for most decks. You use Meld and cast both sides of the card. Then you break your Blossom of Spring to gain a resource. You use Razors of Belief to get a +2. And then your opponent doesn't really have a chance of stopping what you're trying to do during this turn. So you get a 5 value card, right? And that's what we are aiming to do with Starfall mainly, to make our first Burn Up Shock turn be much more difficult for our opponent to deal with.
Yeah. Burn Up Shock, man, can go burn up into a bin. So let's go through the equipment. Keep it simple. Blossom of Spring action, game 1 resource, just helps tie things over, I take it.
Almost every deck, I believe, in this format that can that can use resources running it nowadays. It is extremely powerful. If it translates into a single Starfall swing, it is 2 value, right? Which is, of course, more than any other chest equipment would give us.
Yeah, 100%. And then, you Blade Beckoner Helm and Blade Beckoner Boots. Armor.
Sadly, there aren't so many good choices. I mean, Blade Beckoner equipments are fine on their own. They cover a breakpoint, and they also offer you the ability to soak up some life in weapon swings, which are pretty common on Sage. The only problem with these equipments is that some classes are not forced to use them and have better ones.
That's very true. That's very true. And then the new Beckoning Haunt. So, in my head, block 2.
It blocks, and that's it, right? It blocks for 2, and then don't look at it ever again, because it is kind of a trap. It doesn't. Its action doesn't have go again.
No.
So it isn't like really useful as that. If we wanted to actually use this equipment, we would run Sigil of Lightning.
Yeah.
And we could be playing that as an instant, but as it is right now, I don't think it is good enough.
No, fair enough. And then you got your tight 40-card deck. We'll keep it nice and simple. You are a Runeblade, so should we start with the non-attack actions? Or you tell me, how would you sort of summarize this sort of deck?
I would start talking a little bit about the attack actions, actually.
Okay, yeah, you go.
So we all know that Briar is better when she's able to use her ability, right? And you play 2 non-attack actions during the same turn, and you get to create this embodiment of lightning token to generate more action points, actually.
Yeah.
To be able to be more aggressive. This is an extremely aggressive deck. But that always doesn't cut it. And when you're playing non-attack actions, you are actually playing cards that are not as efficient in value as other cards. When this deck starts doing some really, really silly things is when you are able to chain several 0/4/4s in the same turn.
Yeah.
Actually, during the calling, I was hit by a 22 damage turn in one of my games by Briar. So that's what I mean. We actually have, I believe, the most powerful spread of attacks, right? We have always known how powerful Ravenous Rabble in a full red deck is. Yeah. We know how good Scar for Scar is when you're like just aggressively trading damage. But then you have things like Second Strike, which is only being used. You can only use it if you're a lightning hero. And it's another extremely powerful card because there's not enough equipment to cover all of your breakpoints. And 100% sure your opponent will not try to pitch to stop your arcane damage.
Mm-hmm.
You have Lightning Surge.
Yeah.
You have Jack Nimble, which is very interesting because we're running the Nimblisms and it also works for 3. And we have Entwine Lightning. So that is a lot of attacks that go for 4 and have go again, right? That's essentially what makes this deck broken. Then we have a lot of non-attack actions to just help us buff those attacks and sometimes generate the extra action points to swing with Arcanic Shockwave or Arcanic Crackle.
Mm-hmm.
We have Static Shock. We have, of course, Snatch. When you're running a deck that can buff up Snatch up to 10 and give it go again, that's also pretty good. If your opponent really not like blocking, it will be very difficult for them to deal up with that. And on the non-attack action side, we mostly have different flavors of nimblism. Right?
I mean, to be fair, I was just like, oh, sprout of strength. Yeah, that's nimblism. Now, flourish is. I will get to the 2 cards, but there's 2 that just stood out to me. Flourish. Oh, this card just seems like silly.
It is the other flavor of nimblism, the yellow one that still gives +3, right?
Yeah.
It can get slightly bad if you draw both of them in the same hand. You don't have any other buff. But even then, there are some attacks that buff themselves, like Second Strike or Jack Me Nimble.
Yeah.
And you can use it on Starfall too. Right? The weapon gets +1. So that's why I say that the Starfall is more of a consistency piece on this deck.
Yeah. I saw someone play a flourish and do the not the. I literally just did this.
Bracers of Relief.
Yeah. So it's plus. You're like, what? This is crazy. But would you safely say that the go over is Burn Up Shock? It's just
Burn Up Shock is. There are 2 cards in this deck for me that are more powerful than the others, right? They're extremely overtuned on this format, and those 2 cards are Burn Up Shock and Sigil of Suffering.
Yeah, obviously, Sigil of Suffering silly.
These 2 cards are essentially 0/5s, which are insane, and also both block 4/4, and that they also double down as a mean to deal arcane damage during your opponent's turn. What does this mean? That your opponent cannot present 0 AV, right? Because then they will be at your mercy at some points during the late game.
Yeah.
And that it offered you some extra spots to kill your opponent. The only game that they lost against Briar during this calling, it was due to the fact that they were able to play their last Burn Up Shock to deal 1 arcane damage to me on my turn when I didn't have enough cards. Right? They attacked me with everything, I blocked with everything, I was at 1. They were almost fatigued, but they had the ability to ping with me for 1 with a Burn Up Shock. It also blocks for 4 if you have the embodiment. It constantly deals 5 damage. This is an extremely powerful card. It fuses, it helps you get your Briar ability online, and Sigil of Suffering is just extremely premium. In a world where we have seen Fate for Sing and Sing Below get banned, somehow Sigil of Suffering, which is essentially a more powerful version of those cards, still exists, and that is one of the best selling points of the Runeblade class.
Yeah, I enjoy this season. I don't foresee this lasting, but at the same time, this is why we're here. Season 1 of Let's Go Briar. It begins now. We'll move on to the. I mean, is there anything more to say about this deck other than
it blocks like shit? Like be careful.
Well,
be careful if you don't have your embodiment of Earth, right? If your opponent gets to deny you the embodiment of Earth and they present any kind of on-hit, then it gets messy.
Yeah, geez.
Then it gets very messy because you do not block.
Okay, fair dues. And we'll just we'll move over move over to the sideboard. We've got the inventory. We'll start. We'll start with the equipment. There it is. Braces of Belief. So I want to know. I can see why they come in, right? But I know. But for like the Helm of Might and Magic, it's your Blade Break Spell Void 1. There's your Spell Freed Leggings. It's your Spell Void 1. My head automatically goes there. They're Wizard, sometimes, and then sometimes Runeblade. If you want to just say which one will go to where, or you don't have to. You can actually just go check out the article. I'm sure the article will actually break this down even further. But in a snapshot.
Yeah, they are both being used against Wizard, right? I do think that if you are not heavily teched for the matchup, it is very, very difficult to beat. There are several cards in this sideboard that are essentially being played against Wizard. Bracers of Belief, on the other hand, it is a very good card when you're trying to make sure that your burn-up shop will connect, and when you're playing against fatigue decks, right? So 2 block value against an Oldhim will do you nothing, right? It will not be relevant, but +2 damage might be what gets you there and allows you to kill him.
Awesome.
Just as an aside, if you're playing against a Turbo Fatigue matchup, you can just wait with your Bracer of Belief till your last turn when you have no deck left, and get a +3.
Oh, there you go. Maximum value. All right, trip the like, fantastic. I've never seen this. I've never seen this card.
First of all, I would say that I got a lot of help of Bartosz to help design this deck. I know that you have him. I believe it's on Sen, another hero, right?
Yeah, he's made some regrets, but
so he helped me a lot design this. He's by far the most experienced out of the two with Briar, and he helped me a lot design this deck. So Triple Life Fantastic was his idea, and it is a very good idea. It is a blue card, right? We actually need 2 blue cards because we are playing 2 evergreens that we will talk later to help us defeat fatigue. And it also doubles down both as this resource card that you can play against Icelander and blue to pitch for these evergreens on fatigue matchups. But it also doubles down as a mean to prevent arcane damage. Right? It's active, its instant ability allows you to prevent some arcane damage, which is very, very good to not die on those important points against Wizard.
Yeah.
So Triple Life Fantastic plus Arcane Polarity plus the Cloud Cover actually gave us a ton of equity into the Wizard matchup, right?
Yeah. So I can see all that.
Arcane Polarity does not prevent any damage, but does heal you, which is almost the same.
Yeah. And I imagine that. Do you put that? So my next question with this is that what are you taking out to put this in? Because someone's going to leave that comment.
Oh yeah. So we are going to take out cards that do not help us against wizards.
Yeah.
In this case, we will be taking out Seal of Suffering, which is not our best shot. Arcane Seed's Life, which is a great card to make your opponent. Like it's a 3 value card that can sometimes block 4 and helps us fuse the Bramble Spark. But I believe it is the weakest card out of the lot, and we want to go as fast as possible, so leaving a Bramble Spark in Arsenal for too long might be our downfall. And we are also taking one of our Bramble Sparks to be able to fit the Cloud Covering.
Okay, cool. Easy peasy. Right. And then you've got Evergreen. Love this card. It is... I love this card, but what is this going into?
We are essentially playing this into Fatigue Guardians.
Yeah, of course. Yeah.
Fatigue decks, but when you sit down and your opponent is presenting Oldhim or Terra, you might look at them in the eyes and see that they do not want to play an easy game, a quick game. They do not want to trade damage. They will probably block with 4 cards every turn, right?
Yeah.
And you might get fatigued. You might get left with no cards in your deck. As most of your cards, although they are extremely efficient, they do not present a lot of damage by themselves, right? If you're presenting 0 for 4s and 0 for 3s, which are what mostly all of the cards in your deck translate to, your opponent can just block, and you will not be able to deal the 20 life through their equipment as well, right? They might heal at some point, they have equipment, they have 4 blocks. So if you just throw your whole deck at their face, they might end up, I don't know, 5 to 10 life, right? And that's where greens come in. When your opponent wants to close the remainder of the game by just attacking you with Titan's Fist, dealing 4 damage per turn, then you get the opportunity of using your own bigger Titan's Fist. As you have 2 evergreens, you can loop them and constantly attack for 7.
There you go. Easy. That's it. I mean, and then there's a load of maybes. I'm going to let you guys try out the maybes. This is what Sage is all about. Just having a go, trying and experimenting. And if I have to say thank you so much, Pablo, for bringing this very cool deck to the channel. And if you want to get some more detail, it's also on the Flesh and Blood website as well, when I imagine you're breaking this down even further in writing form. Ooh. But dude, thank you so much for coming on, and we'll catch you guys later. I couldn't ask anyone more in the local UK community than yourself and my brother in arms, James, to do a brute deck tech of some kind, and you gave me immense amount of joy knowing that you've picked Tuffnut. Yeah,
Tuffnut.
Yeah. Now
Let's go.
I'm going to ask, how hard was it to sort of make this without having rock? Because rock is the reason you play Tuffnut, and there is no rock.
Yeah, it's pretty difficult, I suppose. 5 isn't as good as 7. That's true.
Yeah.
But it's fine. He's still a weapon deck. We still build around the weapon.
Yeah.
And yeah, I mean, we'll go through it, but it's still at its core, it's doing what rock tries to do, but at 20 life. So it's only fair that we send 5 instead of 7, right?
I think that's fair enough. I think that's totally fair enough. All right, okay, let's get through this. So your weapon of choice is the Ravenous Meat Axe. So if you haven't seen the YouTube video on our channel with Reinar, well, it turns out I was right. You do love Ravenous Meat Axe.
Cards gas, bro. Cards gas. Yes, it's really strong. It's a quarter of someone's life in Sage as well, so it's even stronger.
Yeah, okay. So I take it the discard to get 5 is, obviously, it's Reinar would prefer to get a lot more out of it, whereas Tuffnut, it's 2 card 5.
Yeah. So it's a 2 card 5. We have Ravenous. We have not Ravenous. Sorry, we have Reincarnate in the main board to recycle cards to stop us from being decked out. However, there is a Romping Club in the side for Guardian or anyone that could threaten to deck you out. This deck wins by fatigue through damage. Like, you're not gonna do some flashy plays. You're not aggroing people down. This, at least my version of Tuffnut, isn't. So generally speaking, you're on Meat Axe against like the Briars and the Ninjas of the world, who are never going to be able to fatigue you, and you just need 5. 5 is bigger than 4. Yeah. That's basically it.
Yeah.
And against everyone else, you're on the club.
Yeah, that's fair enough.
Yeah.
All right, okay. So your equipment of choice. We'll start with Comeback Kicks. Good card.
Very good card. This could easily be Beaten Trackers, which does very similar things. They're both slightly temperamental. We have to be lower health in this one, so it's you have to choose your moments when you crack it. But you can just activate Tuffnut, cheer, know that you have 2 action points. With Beaten Trackers, you have to swing Ravenous Meat Axe and potentially discard the card that you want to follow up with. So I prefer the new Comeback Kicks for sure.
Yeah, that's fair enough. And then you've got the Buzzard Helm. When this defense, draw a card and discard a random card. If the card is 6 or more this turn, this gets +1. Yeah, I tell you what, bit of armor, easy.
Block 3. Yeah, block 3.
Yeah, because keep it as simple as that. Barbarian strap-ins, because rolling the dice is your cup of tea. Yeah.
Yeah, I'd love to be able to run the new equipment, the new chess piece, but sometimes you top deck a red and then you can't do anything, and you go, cool, I make a toughness and pass. My 4th card was worth 1, and that will just lose you games in this format. So it's there as the emergency escape, the emergency eject button for when you inevitably top deck a red and can't swing weapon.
Yeah, and then Unyielding Grip, I do like this it's because you're probably going to be playing a game where you might not have a hand. This is just feels like it's quite free.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah, like you will get full value of this in pretty much most situations where someone's going wide enough or tall enough. So it's like the perfect Tuffnut card, to be honest, in this format.
I agree. Right, so your 40 card deck. So this is Tuffnut. I remember having a chat about Tuffnut last time. It's quite straightforward in terms of its approach. Every card is a 2 resource, 6 powered, block 3. That's what the majority of it is. Is this the same applies in Sage?
There is like obviously there's less 2 costs, which is a bit sad. So
yeah.
generally speaking, like I say, we're a weapon deck because the weapon costs 2, and a lot of our attacks unfortunately cost 3, and we've only got a few blues. Essentially, we're a weapon deck. I think the key thing to think about Tuffnut is you always should analyze him as a 4 in hero. He says 3, but you just need to, in terms of like valuing your plays, you need to pretend that he's 4. And in Sage, with this deck anyway, the 4th card should always be worth 6. So you're doing a 1 card 6 every turn, which sounds very strong, right? Because you're pitching, you're creating a toughness, that's 1 value, and you're sending 5. So you're doing 5 damage off that 4th card. Obviously, you're drawing discard another card, but we don't worry about that. So your 6 value total is off that 4th card. So basically, you should be blocking with your entire hand most turns, which should, generally speaking, mean you block 10, because you should have a toughness every turn with this deck. And then swing 5, create a toughness off the back. Hey presto, that's 16 value going into your next turn.
Nice. Okay. So I'm going to just only mention 1 or 2 cards.
Mhm.
The rip off the top, which is a new pen card.
Whoa!
Whoa!
I love this card.
Are we cooking on gas?
We're cooking on gas, bro. This is Blood Rush, bro.
Yeah. Okay.
This card is Blood Rush in this deck. No, it's obviously not, but I love it. I love the art. I love the vibe of it. I could not include it. The only way it could be better is if it blocked 3.
Yeah.
And said 6 at the bottom. But anyway, you can block 2 cards. You can block 7 or 6 or whatever you've got, and then you can activate Tuffnut, cast this, pitch card from your top. It's another 6, and then suddenly you're sending 8 instead of 5 off your Miax.
Nice.
It's very nice.
Nice. And then I can see that a lot of this, like your reds, I can see that you Clash of Might red. You pick that because it's a 6 cost and it's a clash. And then the old leather Vim as a red. It's a pretty good red, actually. It's a really strong red.
It's a very good red. I think this is pretty much CC playable if only we weren't obviously starved for reds as a Tuffnut deck. But sexy big sexy orc, whatever you want to call him. Big Daddy Orc, he's amazing.
Yeah.
Regular Brute would die for this card. It's so good.
Yeah.
So yeah, you're very happy to see this.
Yeah, absolutely.
Just don't pitch it.
No, just play it. It's fine.
Yeah, just play it. Just play it.
Put it in your ass.
Simply play it. Yeah.
Yeah. Tough as a rock. I guess it's your 6, right?
Yeah, it sometimes isn't a 6, which is very sad. But if it's not a 6, you're probably winning the game, so it's fine. But it blocks 3. There's also the new Hulk Up, which almost went in, but it blocks 2. And it costs 4, sometimes 3, so it just is never playable. So I just elected to go for the 3 block over the 2 block.
Yeah, fair enough. Right, and then we'll move over to the inventory. Unless there's anything else in your main boards that is worth a shout, or is it pretty much streamlined?
It's pretty streamlined at this point. I mean, the new addition is Bear Hug is obviously again a great Tuffnut card because that does say 2 in the top, it does say 6 in the bottom, it says 3 in the other bottom, and it is yellow, which is crazy. Yeah. 2 for 6 yellow is mad. But that's pretty much it. Comeback Kid, is also a great card in yellow. It's a 7 basically in yellow when you can cast it, but. Yeah, outside of that, and the reincarnate loop is very funny. You can do that against people as well, where you just keep recycling it because it goes into the bottom of the deck when you discard it with Meat Axe. So that's quite funny.
Yeah, that's it. Look good to see that card come back. Right, let's go.
Yeah.
Let's go through the inventory. So Noah and Herd's Runeblade Wizard.
Pretty much just Wizard at the moment. I think you need the armor, unfortunately, for Runeblade. They're so powerful. Yeah. But yeah, we're just rocking AB2 into Wizard because we don't run enough blues to run AB3.
Sure. And then the absolutely pretty much bonkers Spell Void 3 that you just have that, I guess.
We just have that, I guess. Yeah, this card is so good. It's like insane how good this card is.
Yeah. Oh, I've got no cards. All right, I think you got me. All right, Tuffnut. Bam.
Yeah.
Spell Void 3.
Tuffnut, pay for some Arcane Barrier, and then I'll just Spell Void 3. Why not?
Nice. So your Romping Club, like you said, you're putting this in for Guardians or someone just to slow down the discard.
Yeah, yeah. If Guardian, anyone that you think has, a chance of fatiguing you as opposed to you fatiguing them. So pretty much anything that's not aggro, you whack this in and it's fine. It's literally just 1 point less value every turn over. So it's like you're plus a card, but you're minus a point of damage. So anything that you're not scared, that might fatigue you. Sorry, this will go in over Miax.
Cool. Right, let's talk about the last 6 cards here. So we'll start with Buck Wild Red. I mean, you Buck Wild boy. What's this going in for?
Crazy, right? Pretty much old him and any sort of genre of fatigue, like the Decimator Great Axe, anything where you have to be more proactive than the block 10 send 5 create a toughness vibe, which is the main core of the deck. So anything where you have to not like go against your standard game plan, this will just slot in quite nicely.
What are you taking out for this card?
The Clash of Might, I believe. Clash of Might is a great card against aggro when you do want to block, but when you're bringing in Buck Wild Reds, you're probably not blocking as much.
Yeah, no, that's fair enough. Awesome new card, emboldened by the crowds. This card's actually like sick in like CC. I know I'm actually more interested to see what Tuffnut does in CC after this, but we're here for Sage.
Yeah. He's done some crazy things, bro.
So if you've been cheered, 0 for 6 block.
Yeah, this is crazy. This is really good into to Rune Blades as well. Well, like the Viscerized, and the Vinsets of the world, where you are pitching for Rune Chance, because then all of a sudden this is just a 1-card 6 block as well, right? So it's not just against the tool decks; it's against some genres of Rune Blade. It's just great.
It's
just really good.
It is awesome. Imagine you just go here's a yellow, use those yellows, eat those 2 Rune Chants, block.
Ooh.
Okay.
Yeah, block 6. Just one card block 6. And the thing is as well, because it's a D-react, it's not an action, so it doesn't trigger your toughness. So it's quite good for spreading out your value on your toughness as well, which is nice.
Nice. Yeah. So what is this replacing? And I take it it's reinforced the line in the same camp as this?
Yeah, similar. I'd say, Reinforce and Embolden would come in against like the Flavo or like the aggressive, like the Valda lists. We've seen those sort of decks where they want to try and dominate you and things like that. So they'd probably both come in together at certain times.
Yeah.
But Embolden just also has that sideboard of it's also good into certain Rune Blades. Generally speaking, Stronger Survival come out because they don't care about blocking. Those sort of decks don't want to keep their cards anyway. And probably off the top, something like a Battlefront Bastion, which is great into the go wides of the world, but less good into the sort of tall Guardians, because you're not going to be defending with it on your own so much. So it's just a 2 block in those situations.
Yeah. No. Sick. Right. Sweet. Simple as.
Nice quick one for you.
Absolutely.
Literally, like the deck is block 10 on 3 cards. Send 5, create a toughness to go into your next turn to block 10 again. That's the deck. Just mind free. You can anyone can be Tuffnut. They just gotta just transcend, bro. Just get into that zone.
I love it. I can't wait to actually every time I see Tuffnut, I'm always like, oh man, I just want to play this. It just feels...
Bro, it's sick.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to CC.
So good.
I'm looking forward to CC.
Yeah.
So I hope to get you back
so
on
much
for
fun.
that. I hope to get you back on for that.
Yeah, please do. Well, I'll just take down a PQ with CC Tuffnut. It's fine.
Yeah.
No problem. You can have the first interview on that.
And if you're watching, I'm calling dibs. Right. All right. Thanks very much, James. Take care.
Thank you, mate. Cheers.
Hey, are you that guy that made this incredibly amazing Briar list and then sent it to a mate so that he could win? Is that Bartosz?
Hello, that's me. I'm Bartosz.
All right, dude, thank you so much for coming out and showing me Briar 2.0, otherwise known as Aurora, yeah?
That's her.
Yeah.
We'll try to do some magic here.
Yeah. So honestly, though, I think this is incredibly relevant, right? I know that a lot of people. This is my sort of take as the player looking at the meta. I think Aurora should definitely be you should be thinking about her and considering her, because I think a Briar, right, is going to go bye-bye soon. And, oh no, she's silly, bro. She's silly.
Yeah, well, she is silly, of course.
But
at least we have her little sister
yeah,
to
that's
take
it.
care
And none of
whenever
that.
she's gone.
I couldn't think of anyone better because you did an amazing Metafy guide for Briar. And if you are going to go to any of your pro quests, seriously, I'll put the link below. Check it out. You should do it. It's the one that won the calling. The list is absolutely solid. So link below. Check it out. But you're going to come here and tell us why Aurora is also a fine choice.
Okay, let's get to it.
Yeah. So what is it? So what is it about Aurora? You know, I imagine she is a Lightning Runeblade hero, but what else is there about her?
Oh, what she is missing from Briar, so the, of course, insane amount of blocking power thanks to Embodiment of Earth and consistency from pre-Embodiment of Lightning.
Yeah.
Aurora has an access to more consistent way of creating embodiments of lightning, and because of that she can run slightly different cards. So overall she's kinda worse in almost every way in comparison to Briar.
Come on, you're meant to
sadly.
sell this stuff.
But wait,
Yeah.
we will get there. But ability of creating embodiment of lightning is really relevant into some slower matchups or matchups whenever you don't have to block as much. So I feel like from the games I've played preparing for this video, she seems like she has better game into fatigue decks, even though she cannot bring in evergreens and try to out-fatigue your opponent, and also into wizards because she can actually she has a relevant ability, like she can use blues offensively or to set up properly for the future turns. And that's something that Briar is missing, because in the build that won the calling, blues were there only to be able to send evergreens in the second cycle and possibly pitch to Arcane Barrier whenever it came up. But other than that, there was no reason to run blues over reds or yellows.
So,
and
I've got a question. Is the hero ability relevant? Because I'm just sitting here going, could I just pick up this entire deck and just put Briar on the front of it? It wouldn't work.
It is relevant because of some small interactions that we will go over, because we have a spicy card in there that makes it so that creating an embodiment of lightning so easy is making it slightly better. And also to be able to set up against fatigue whenever you send turns back to back. Whenever you draw a blue, you actually want to pitch it and create an embodiment of lightning, either to send another 4/4/0 your opponent's way on this turn, or to set it up for the next turn to be able to more efficiently and more easily pull off big burn up shock turns to actually push the damage through and hopefully kill your opponent that way.
All good. Let's get through the equipment. So obviously Starfall. It's just...
Starfall. Well, the only other option, same for Briar, is basically Reaping Blade. So one cost weapon that you can run and be able to convert your spare resources. So either whenever you pitch a blue or whenever you have a hand that can't convert other way. So Starfall is your natural extender. That also works really well, especially on burn up check turns. So that was also the reason why in Briar it was the only weapon I choose to run, as whenever you face off against both fatigue decks and aggro decks, the only way you can not be able to get there in the end is whenever you brick. And Starfall is the best weapon to unbrick your hands, because of cards like Sizzle and Burn Up Shock and even Lightning Press that allow you to activate Starfall and then be able to convert your additional cards that you wouldn't be able to use otherwise because they don't have Go Again.
Yeah, okay.
So you keep the tempo on, and also whenever you do the Burn Up Shock turn, you can always crack Blossom of Spring, have 1 resource for Starfall. So we have an additional chain link on that turn whenever you try to connect Burn Up. And that makes a world of difference, because without that, most of the time your opponent can just block it out and leave you with your 4-card hand for the next turn. And if it doesn't convert, then you are basically behind from that point onward, because you played a card that you could have blocked with and you only dealt 1 damage, so it's not the best rate in the game.
Fair enough. Well, you mentioned Blossom of Spring, just a go cheeky little resource, right?
Yeah.
Keep it easy.
But that's something. Yeah.
Blade Back in the Helm. Good blocking card.
Good blocking card. The best one we can have in that slot.
Yeah. And then
other than the sideboard choices.
We'll get to the sideboard. Beckoning Horn. That blocks for 2.
Yeah. Well, I found another blocking card. I found it that it's even more important to have blocking equipment in Aurora in comparison to Briar.
Yeah.
Because your cards actually don't block. Like you never want to block with that card, with your cards, because they all either don't block or block poorly. Like blocking for 2 is not something we want to be doing with our cards, especially if we can send them for 4.
Yeah.
So Aurora is for sure more all in comparison to Briar, which can try to prolong the game. But we have a nifty way to try to extract some more value whenever we block with Blackstone Greaves.
Yeah, you're just. I was about to just talk about that. My question is that that little if you've dealt arcane damage this turn, this gets +1. So we'll get through the deck in a minute. But I take it you've got some ways you can, apart from playing your burn up shot on their turn, which doesn't sound. No, don't do that.
We have some more ways. It's nothing you wouldn't expect.
It's Sigil of Voltaris, yeah. As I was just, we
have the new. Let's just scroll down. We have the new blue printed in Company of Wrath.
Yeah.
Sigil of Voltaris, which basically, whenever you play it, deals 1 arcane damage, and whenever it leaves play, also deals 1 arcane damage.
Yeah.
So,
I take it it's just that well, we'll get there. So that's your equipment suite, and then welcome to your main deck. Oh, beautiful! You do this. Some people don't do this. I remember you do. You do it the way I like to do it. You've got 34 cards, and then you're gonna slot in your sideboard bits. You haven't got this 40 card deck, and people just I know. Look, we all got our way. Some people just sing the right tune. My sort of tune, and that's Bartosz for you. Anyway, 34 cards in the deck. These are always in. So, this just seems so CC. It's just 0 for 4s. It's just go in for it, right? Just go for it.
Yeah, the bread and butter. What you would expect from Aurora.
Yeah.
All the 4/4/0s, all the go agains, all the lightning cards that can allow your Starfall to get go again and +1.
There's 2 cards I want to talk about in this, because everything here makes complete total sense. If you just look at the cards, they all just tell you what they need to do. It's very straightforward. The 2 cards which you were just talking about, the Sigil of Voltaris, when this leaves play, and when this. So why have you put this card in? What is this doing? I know that you've explained a bit about the equipment, but what else is this doing for you?
Well, the idea behind this deck is that it's slightly more cheesy than Briar.
Yeah.
And you do the cheesy part by including more arcane damage that your opponent doesn't expect to be faced with. So there's Sigil of Voltaris, the new card that whenever you play it gives go again to your Starfall, but also whenever you play it on your opponent's turn, it activates your Blackstone Greaves to get an additional block on your equipment. But also, whenever you play Briar, it often during the end game, there is a point whenever one of your outs to win the game is drawing a Sigil of Suffering or Burn Up Shock to deal that last 1 point of damage, arcane damage, that your opponent hopefully doesn't have a way to prevent or heal up. So that's your win condition from at some point during the game. And Aurora has basically the same card pool, but uses it more efficiently whenever you try to go for more heavy arcane damage build. And that's why Sigil of Voltaris is here, but also Harness Lightning.
I was just you took words right out of my mouth. That was the second card. It's just that weird go over, isn't it? Like you're going, I'm going to keep this, and then you go, 3, and you're like, oh, hang on a minute, wasn't expecting like, you know what I mean? Like
that's sometimes people will want to keep a card in hand because they expect that you might have something like Snatch or Static Shock. To end your chain link, but whenever you end your turn with Harness Lightning, they sometimes might get stuck with a card in hand that they didn't really want there, could have blocked the first chain link or any previous chain link. But that card can sometimes make it so your opponent has to keep a card in hand or use it inefficiently because they didn't expect you to deal arcane damage, and also gives you a much bigger reach, especially together with Sigil of Voltaris and many copies of Sigil of Suffering in your sideboard. So you get an additional reach that your opponent doesn't expect, and it doesn't interfere with your game plan because you have so many go against.
Yeah, makes total sense. Now let's talk about your sideboard, and boy oh boy, what a sideboard! That normally I've seen everyone, they've got like 5 cards. But obviously, that's because they have a 40 card deck. Let's go through it. Let's start off with, as per usual, the equipment. So you got the Voltaic Vanguard. Instant destroy this, prevent the next 2 damage that will be dealt to you this turn. Activate this even if you played an instant card this turn. This is your wizard tech.
That's the wizard tech, and also a card you can bring against Azalea, because against Azalea, your burn up Blade Beckoner Helm will always be able to only block 1.
Yeah.
So with that card and cloud covers that you can see on the screen, somewhere nearby, you have another way to block out the dominated attacks from her. Especially that we don't choose to run Unflinching Footholds in this deck because our cards don't block, so we wouldn't be using that property well anyway.
Fair dues. And then Twinkle Toes, it's the same, isn't it? Yes.
The same as Voltic Vanguard,
Yeah, it's the same. Exactly the same card. So, like you said, are both of these coming into the dominated wizard matchups?
Most of the time, yeah. Or either you split them against Azalea because you have Blackstone Greaves, you will actually want to keep them in and only play Voltic Vanguard. But against all wizards that you might face off against, both Twinkle Toes and Voltic Vanguard work really well together with both Arcane Polarities and Cloud Covers and some other instance you have. That if the push comes to shove, you can play on your opponent turn and prevent the damage with your equipment pieces.
Nice.
To be able to live through.
So the Helm of Might and Magic is your Blade Break Spell Void 1. What's that coming in for?
It's coming in for Runeblades basically.
Right.
Every Runeblade is running Sigil of Suffering, and sometimes people like to bring either in Briar whenever going first, or you might face off against Florian. They can bring in Arcane Scepter, so the weapon that deals 1 arcane damage, and whenever it deals damage, it creates that many rune chant. So it can be used both to prevent your opponent from covering a breakpoint with Sigil of Suffering, or to be able to prevent the 1 arcane and then 1 additional rune chant that would be created whenever they hit you with Arcane Scepter. So it's basically there for that.
Yeah, fair enough. And the Braces of Belief, a lot of yellows. Oh no, actually, is there any yellows? No, sorry, I take that back. A lot of reds.
There are 2 yellows.
Right, yeah.
Well, 4 yellows.
I was gonna go. Oh, sorry, no, it's lightning. God, this isn't a Bolton deck. Sorry. So, Braces of Belief, yeah, clearly great card. We've been seeing this card been doing the works for the Silver Age tournaments. It's a good pushover card. Who's it going in for?
Against all the slower matchups, or whenever you don't need block on your arm piece, so basically wizards is the only one. I would probably not include them if not for wizard, but whenever I tried to see all the other options, there are no other options basically. So
Yeah.
Brazers of Belief and Beckoning Hounds.
Yeah.
You want both of them in because sometimes you don't need to block with the RP, so converting them to 2 power on one of your possibly relevant on hits is worth much more than a random 2 block that you might not use.
Yeah, that's fair enough. Right, let's go through the cards here. So, Arcane Polarity, Wizards, and Rune Blades, or Wizards?
Yeah, and Rune Blades. Yeah, we don't have cards that block, so we will be taking everything in, and possibly whenever some arcane damage is dealt, we can heal up.
Yeah, easy. I like that. Cloud Cover, what's that coming in for?
Also, again, against Wizards, against decks with Dominate, so Flavo, Valda, and Azalea. Yeah. Sigil of Suffering. 4 copies of Sigil of Suffering.
You want some Sigil of Suffering?
Yeah.
Okay, obviously, I can see the reds. Is this, apart from Wizards, this is coming in?
Well, it's coming in against all the aggro decks and also against decks that can hedge, like will both try to attack you but can fatigue you. So you will then only be bringing red Sigils of Suffering and the spicy card that's next coming up in a moment.
Yeah.
But most of the time you just bring 4 copies into all the aggro decks to be able to activate your Blackstone Greaves more consistently and have even more of that reach of arcane damage being dealt on your opponent's turn whenever they committed to attacking you and getting too low on life.
I like it. Now, the Ion Charge. Until the end of the turn, lightning and elemental attacks get +1 while they have go again. Right. Is this the spicy card?
Yeah, this is the spicy card.
Yeah.
It's much more powerful than it seems. It's basically Art of War that activates your Starfall.
Right.
And because of Ion Charge being there, you have Photon Rushes in the main deck, and also you have Fries, and that's where the Aurora's ability to set up the embodiment of lightning for the next turn or whenever you swing Starfall shines, as it allows you to convert Ion Charge for additional point of damage during any of, either if you set it up beforehand or whenever you play it on the same turn. And why is Ion Charge also really good is that it counts as additional copies of Lightning Press against those fatigue matchups, because it allows you to push over whenever you send Burn Up Shock their way. Especially that the common play pattern whenever you play Burn Up Shock and send Starfall is that your opponent will either block it with a Sirens of Safe Harbor or with a piece of equipment. And because Ion Charge works also on your Starfall, you have a cheeky way of pushing the one through and making Burn Up connect. That also will make breakpoints awkward on all your other attacks you send them away on that turn.
Yeah, this is lunging press for the turn, basically.
Yeah, and it's really easy to set it up that you get 3 or 4 or maybe even 5 value out of it.
Wow.
Like you play Flickering Charge, play Ion Charge, follow up with Fry, crack the chest, send Starfall with Go Again, send Second Strike with Go Again, and you've already done 4 damage from that.
That's crazy.
It requires some setup, but it's much easier to do it during the game than it seems, and also it's a consistency piece. So whenever you lose against Fatigue, whenever they pressure you too much, and you don't have life total to spare to set up your bigger turns. So it's a piece that you can both set it up to make that bigger turn happen, or also you can just use it to be able to keep the tempo on and try to chip them from their cards from hand so they can't pressure you back.
So this is you wouldn't put this in an aggro matchup, you put this in a slower matchup because you need to have time to set up.
Yeah, it's for slower matchups and for Wizard because you need consistency pieces, and it's also randomly an instant that if you have to, you can activate your Twinkle Toes and Voltic Vanguard with it.
Yeah, that's true. Now, Blue Arcanic Shockwave. You said the other card was a spicy card, and I was looking at this going, this looks far more suspicious.
No, that one is not spicy at all. No.
No.
Yellow Sigil of Suffering and Ion Shards are the spice.
Yeah. So what? Okay, Iconic Shockwave. What is this culprit doing here?
Well, it's basically a filler blue, and I think that's the best one you can run. But maybe someone figures out a better blue to have in the deck. But it blocks 3. It can deal arcane damage whenever you go first, or maybe whenever during the game you are at the spot that your opponent is at 1 and you only need to deal 1 damage to kill them. Then that's a card you can do that with.
So what are you putting this in?
So it's against all the slower decks whenever I need more blues to be able to swing Starfall and create embodiments, and also against aggro decks whenever I need 3 blocks.
Yeah, fair enough. Right, that's it. That's everything. That's a really cool deck.
Quick.
I know, that's Sage for you, really. Deck techs go as quick as the games, if not. Sometimes I think the deck techs go longer than the games, to be fair. So, thank you so much, Bartosz, for sitting down and showing us Aurora. I do think this is going to be very relevant, because I think, maybe not for this season. Depends how things go. But I do think that she is very, very relevant. I will say that I'm pretty dubious if Burn Up Shop survives the ban. If it doesn't, well, I guess we'll just continue getting Burn Up shots by Briar. But regardless, I think she's a very cool hero, very relevant hero, and I think as time goes on, there is going to be a new Aurora and potentially some new cards that come with it. So this can only get better. And obviously, there's a lot of people that do like playing Aurora. So thank you so much for giving the time over to explain about another Lightning Runeblade hero.
Well, thank you for having me.
Always, mate. And I'll catch you on the next one.
Bye-bye.